The ground shudders. It is a tremor born not of the earth's deep bones, but of raging muscle. Before them, a wall of wrinkled hidden fury, a pygmiest de Ardon, a titan shrunken by the strange alchemy of this island world, yet still a mountain of flesh to the small, broad minus-footed people who swarm its flanks. This is the apex of their existence, the bloody crucible where the fate of the clan is forged. This moment encapsulates the brutal reality of prehistoric life. They are Homo floresienses, the island's own peculiar branch of hominid history, and their survival depends on this deadly dance. One hunter, a young male with scar tissue mapping his arms, points to the left, drawing the beast's small, infuriated eyes. As the shaggy head swings, another hunter, a lithe female, lunges from the right. She drives the fire-minus hardened tip of her spear into the thick muscle of its haunch. There is no elegance here. It is a battle of 1,000 pinpricks, of relentless harassment against a singular, ponderous might. Their coordination is their only true weapon, a complex language of gestures and guttural calls that weaves them into a single, thinking predator. Watching from a moss-minus slicked-out crop is the Old One. Her face is a delta of deep-minus carved lines, her eyes holding the long memory of the clan. She holds no spear. Her weapon is foresight. A sharp grunt from her directs two hunters to circle wider, anticipating the beast's desperate charge toward the ravine. She has seen a dozen of these hunts. She knows the moment the animal's rage boils over into panic, and when panic collapses into exhaustion. The story of these ancient humans is written in such moments of collective intelligence. The Ste Gordon bellows, a sound of stone grinding stone, and finally lurches, its front legs buckling. It crushes down, the impact a dull boom that silences the forest. A chorus of raw, triumphant calls erupts from the hunters. Made for weeks. Marrow minus rich bones for tools and nourishment, sinew for bindings. It is the clan's lifeblood, one at monumental risk. As the others descend upon the carcass, their flint flakes sharp and ready. The Old One does not move. The flush of victory does not reach her. She lifts her head, testing the air. There is something beneath the coppery stench of blood. They faint, sharp smell, like stone struck on stone in a place with no air. Acrid. She presses her palm flat against the damp earth. It's there again. A low, persistent hum, not an echo of the hunt, but a vibration that comes from the world itself. A discordant note in the ancient song she has known since birth. The familiar drone of insects has fallen quiet. The chattering birds that normally feast on the scraps of their hunts are gone. The younger hunters, lost in the immediate, visceral joy of their kill, notice nothing. They are creatures of the present moment. The Old One, however, is a vessel of the past, and through it, she senses the future. She looks north, toward the great, sleeping peak that is the heart of their island. I assume, and a then-warm straight plume of vapor, darker than any cloud, now rises from its crown. The tremor is in the root of the world, and she knows, with a certainty that chills her marrow, that the feast they celebrate today is an ending, not a beginning. The triumph is ash in their mouths. The sun is a rumor, a pale coin lost in a sky of perpetual twilight. Days have passed since the mountain spoke in fire and thunder, and the world has been unmade. What the initial, ground minus hugging terror of the pyroclastic flow did not incinerate. The endless rain of poison minus grey dust now suffocates. They are huddled beneath a granite overhang, a handful of survivors from the celebrating clan. The meat of the Ste Gordon is a bitter memory, buried with their kind under a suffocating blanket of grey. Every breath is a mouthful of ground glass, a constant, rasping irritation that incites a chorus of dry, hacking coughs. Their world, once a vibrant tapestry of emerald green and volcanic black, is now a monochrome purgatory. The familiar calls of birds, the scent of damp earth, the paths worn into the soil by generations of their human ancestors all erased. This is the voyage of prehistory, a world reset to zero. The Old One's foresight had been a whisper of warning. The reality is a deafening, Silent scream. A small child, her face smeared with a paste of ashen tears, convulses in a fit of coughing. Her tiny body too weak to expel the venom she inhales. Her mother holds her, rocking uselessly, her own breathing shallow. They have no clean water. The one puddle they found is a slurry of acid and grit. One of the hunters, the same young male with the scarred arms, watches them. His leg is badly burned, the skin tightened weeping. A wound from a falling ember. He crawls to a wide, cupped leaf he had positioned a day earlier. A piece of primitive technology born of desperation. On it, a few precious drops of liquid have condensed from the foul and not rain, but a purer moisture. It is barely a mouthful. Without a sound, he nudges the leaf toward the mother. A gesture of profound altruism in a world that has declared all life forfeit. She looks at him, her eyes hollow, and carefully tips the collected moisture into her daughter's mouth. It is a choice to sustain the future at the cost of the present. The core calculus of survival. The clan is trapped. Their intricate knowledge of the forest, their mastery of its resources and dangers, is now a collection of ghost stories. Survival now demands a new intelligence.
They march side
They
by
must
side,
move, but the landscape is alien. A featureless desert of ash dunes. The old one, her own lungs burning, closes her eyes. She forces herself to remember not the sights, but the feel of the land beneath her feet. The memory of a slope's gradient. The direction of a prevailing wind. The subtle dip in the earth that once meant a stream. It is a ghost map, a desperate gamble. She rises, unsteady, and points a trembling finger into the grey void. That way, her voice is a dry rasp. The land falls. It is an act of faith in a faithless world. As they stumble forward, a new form of Pleistocene megafauna reveals itself. A silent shape detaches from a skeletal, Ashminascape tree, taller than any of them. A giant marabou stalk, its massive bill a sharpened blade. It is a creature born for this apocalypse, a patient undertaker. It doesn't attack, it follows. It walks when they walk, a silent, grey sentinel of their despair, waiting for the weakest to fall. The primal fear of being hunted returns, but stripped of all drama. This is not a predator of passion, but of cold, relentless opportunity. The great procession continues, a line of ghosts against all landscape of death. The giant stalk remains their silent companion, its shadow moving stain on the ash. They have walked until their broad, calloused feet are raw. The young hunter with the burned leg falters, his breath scumming and ragged. Shallow gasps. He slumps to his knees, the effort of rising beyond him. The others stop, turning to what? There are no words, only the shared, hollow understanding. The mother of the small child looks at him, a flicker of the debt she owes him in her eyes, but she makes no move to help. In this new world, compassion is a luxury measured in footsteps. Survival is a ruthless equation, and he is now a cost they cannot afford. He looks at them, not with fear or anger, but with a profound and terrible exhaustion. He gives a slight nod, an almost imperceptible release. As the clan shuffles forward, the great stalk breaks from its patient stride. It unfolds its immense wings, a final, silent verdict, and lands softly beside the fallen hunter. The clan does not look back. Days blur into a single, grey ordeal. The old one's ghost map, her memory of the land's fall, proves true. The air begins to change. The acrid taste of ash is cut by a new, shell, briny scent. A low, rhythmic roll, felt more than heard, grows from a whisper to a constant presence. Finally, they crest a final, sloping dune of ash and see it, the sea. It is not a vision of hope, but another desolation of churning. Lit minus grey expanse under a sky the colour of a bruise. The beach is a graveyard of bleached wood and black volcanic rock. The sight offers no comfort, only a different kind of emptiness. But it is a world free of the suffocating dust. They stumble to the water's edge, scooping the foul, salty liquid into their mouths, spitting it out. but using it to wash the caking grime from their faces. Their first minus-born survival skills are meaningless here. There is no game to track, no roots to dig, but hunger is a relentless innovator. The young female hunter, the one who first struck the STE god on, is the first to adapt. She watches the water retreat, leaving behind tide pools teeming with small, scuttling things. She picks up a stone crab, which promptly seizes her finger in its pincer. She cries out, shaking it loose. Frustration gives way to a spark of insight. The core challenge of human evolution is not just enduring, but problem mind is solving, picking up a heavy, rounded stone. She brings it down on another crab, cracking its shell. Inside is a sliver of meat. This is the birth of a new idea, a piece of lithic technology as crucial as any spear. It is a moment of discovery that will echo through generations, a fundamental step for these early humans. She shows the others. Soon, the rhythmic crack of stone on shell becomes the new sound of their survival. They are no longer hunters of mountains, but scavengers of the sea's edge, dedicated to this new form of foraging. The old one watches, her expression unreadable. As the small clan works, they are battered, diminished, and forever scarred, but they are alive, here, on the margin of a world remade by fire. They have found a fragile foothold. To truly understand their journey, you must become a chronicler yourself, sifting through the layers of time as they now sift through the tide pools for life. Cast your mark in the comments below, and add your voice to the long record. The sun, a weakened watery eye, finally breaks through a fissure in the grey clouds, casting a pale, uncertain light on the survivors. Pull back from the salt-stained shore, from the small, huddled figures cracking shells on a volcanic beach. Their story is not an end, but a bottleneck. In the silent records kept by archaeology and paleontology, the species, Homo floresiensis, is a ghost, a brief and curious chapter in the sprawling epic of our shared ancestry. They will fade, their world to small, their catastrophe to absolute, but what they fought with, what burned in them until the very end, did not die. It is the inheritance of all hominids who have ever faced a world they could not defeat, only endure. The stubborn spark of innovation in the face of oblivion, the unspoken calculus of community that weighs individual loss against collective survival, the profound, instinctual drive to shield the future, even with one's last breath. These are not relics to be unearthed. They are the bedrock of our own instincts, the quiet, powerful river that has carved its way through millennia to reach us now. We are the descendants of those who survived their own apocalypses, the children of those who learn it to find life in the ruins. Their struggle is the primal rhythm beneath the noise of our modern world, a reminder of the brutal fragility and astonishing resilience that is our ultimate birthright. We have inherited their fire, but have we also remembered the ash? I am the chronicler. We seek not to glorify the victor, but to honor the struggle of the forgotten. And what happens when the sea itself becomes the enemy?